Good morning, church. Today I'm going to give you a brief overview of how you can leverage unsupervised learning to come up with your own interpretations of the Bible. People study the Bible for centuries, but do we actually know what it's all about? Usually, you learn about it through other people. But human interpretations are biased. If you don't want to be influenced by exterior interpretations, you gotta read the whole Bible yourself. So you set off on this journey, crack open the scripture, and you quickly realize that there are so many people and places. It's kind of lengthy and extremely dense. So I thought, for today's sermon, why don't I have the computer read it instead? I'm gonna go over a brief example of ways you can leverage these machine learning techniques to come up with your own interpretations of the Bible. So, how can I make the computer understand a bunch of text? Well, first off, the Bible is in Hebrew, so I need to use a translation. Out of the hundreds of translations, I went with the basic English translation, which compresses the Bible vocabulary into 1,000 common words and 3,000 proper nouns. Limiting the vocabulary reduces the high dimensionality of my problem, which makes it easier for machine learning. The Bible is a very emotional text, and I wanted to capture this dynamic with the Vader sentiment analysis. As you can see here, the Old Testament is a roller coaster of happiness and sadness. This is because the Bible is divided into categories of related books. We have positive love books such as the Song of Songs, blissful poems about passion and romance, while prophetic books are filled with cries of sorrow and lament. But here's the catch. Vader measures the polarity of text using a rule-based system trained off social media text. So given more time, I would like to develop a better tool for biblical writing. Next, delving into topic modeling. By using this technique called LDA, we assume that each Bible verse is a mixture of a small number of topics, and that the presence of specific words then map to these said topics. This allows us to visualize the presence of a topic for each book in the Bible, and draw some interesting insights. While there is a common misconception that the Bible has many rules, most of these rules are actually concentrated in only a few books in the beginning of the Bible. Additionally, we see a major shift from the Old to the New Testaments. The topic of wrath heavily declined, while the idea of salvation through faith increased dramatically as we move from the Old to the New Testament. Word choices also dramatically differ. This tool I used, called Scattertext, compares the terms in two chunks, the Old versus the New Testament. The little peninsula in the brown circle shows the list of words that are almost exclusively mentioned in the New Testament. Looking into this visual, you can see how these words relate to our topics. The bubbles on the left are topics, and the bars on the right show the correlated terms connecting both the topic modeling and Scattertext together. You can actually interact with this tool in my Flask app using this link, and play around with them for your own interpretations. Finally, I tried to capture context using word embeddings, which is a more advanced technique than the ones I've showed you so far. This captures more meaning behind words. It does this by representing words as vectors that can contextually relate to one another. You can do some really neat things with these models, such as inputting a list of apostles and singling out Judas as the traitor. this is a really nice tool to capture a bit more depth behind the words in the Bible. But there is still so much more to be done. I failed to detect figurative language, such as metaphors and symbolism. My model interprets that Song of Solomon is talking about goats or dripping honey, when it is actually metaphorically describing the beauty of a person's face. I want to integrate this technology into my app so that people can interact with it and draw their own interpretations using a very easy interface. Finally, I would like to decode complex plot patterns and find similarities between the 66 books. This concept of storytelling couldn't be measured with the tools I showed you today. Thank you for listening to my sermon on how you can leverage these unsupervised learning tools to draw your own insights on the Bible. Definitely check out my GitHub repo after service to find the code you can use to do this yourself. My appendix also includes a demo of how you can use my app, and a more in-depth explanation of how the words in the Bible were processed.